Men of Reddit, what have you purposefully done to not seem creepy? I had been walking behind her about 2 blocks, going to her parking garage. When I got to the garage, I pulled the ticket out of my pocket to pretend to compare the address and to give her time to get ahead, but we met at the elevator. We got off the elevator at the same floor on the parking garage, and she headed to where I knew my car was. So I wandered around the parking garage pushing the button on my remote, pretending to look for my car. She finally yelled, "It's up his way." We were parked next to each other. They married last year and have 3 kids. I have a really good memory and remember most of the details from most of the conversations I have if I'm paying attention. It gets creepy when a guy you haven't seen in months regurgitates your life story, so I have to act like I forgot everything and ask questions I already know the answer to. If a guy remembers something, I tell him I'm impressed. Even more so if time has passed. It showed they care. Emo at least. I was walking down the street and 2 young girls, around 8 or 9, came skipping up to me and asked if I wanted to see their dance routine for $1. I gave them $1 and said I didn't have time to watch their dance. I felt weird being an adult male in my late 20s watching 2 adolescent girls dance on the sidewalk with nobody else around. I can only imagine what that would look like from someone's kitchen window. That's pretty funny though. Kids are so cute. I'm sure they were extremely excited about the $1. I walked up to a group of moms with their kids in a park and told them I was geocaching, which is like a treasure hunting game. And if I'm walking in circles looking at things, I was trying to find something, not stalking anyone. The day before, I was at the same park doing the same thing, minding my own business. Someone decided they didn't like me walking around and called the police on me. Didn't blame them. I felt bad for the cop who had to write the report on the situation though. The officer was really nice and I made it a point to laugh and talk with the officer for about 10 minutes just because. Funny thing, when I told the group of moms the second day, I ended up with 3 adults, about 6 kids, and a dog helping me try to find it. LOL. Funny thing, when I told the group of moms the second day, I ended up with 3 adults, about 6 kids, and a dog helping me try to find it. LOL. Yay. I naturally walk pretty softly, so I generally make very little noise when I'm walking around. So if I notice that I'm walking near a girl, or even a group of girls, especially at night, I'll purposefully make a little noise just to basically announce my presence. Drag my feet, clear my throat, something like that, just to be like, "Hey, I'm here, don't freak out." I just scream as loud as I can to announce my presence and assert my dominance at the same time. When I see an attractive woman, I ignore her. Can't think I'm creepy if I don't acknowledge your existence. Obviously a flawed strat, but it works. My strategy as well. I look in the opposite direction to appear aloof and uninterested. Probably come off as a prick, but that's better than a creeper. If I'm walking down a street behind a woman, either cough or pretend to trip so she knows I'm there. I'll also either slow down or just take a different route across the street. I'm gonna point out that that's legit. When guys follow too long behind me, I start looking for a reason to not be walking in front of him. If I'm walking behind a girl at night and she can't hear me, I'll slow down so I'm not as close, cough, and then speed past her. It usually works, except on the rare occasion that we both then turn into the same building, and then it just looks I just intentionally got in her way. When I go camping with my better half, I always make sure she comes to the campsite toilets with me so I don't look like a creepy weirdo. To clarify, I do this because I usually take those opportunities to observe and photograph moths that have been attracted to the lights, and nothing says creepy weirdo louder than a lone adult male loitering at some family campsite toilets with a camera after dark. Hahaha, oh my god. Yep, that would absolutely weird me out. Just murmur softly, "Moths are drawn to the light. Anyone questions you and do not blink. It'll be great." I'm 32, was playing a light gun game at an arcade, one where you sit down and there are little curtains to make it darker. A kid got in and pretended to play. I noped right out of there. Better to lose my 75 cents than to have to explain to the parent, or cops, that I was there first. If I'm giving a stranger or someone I don't know terribly well a compliment, I up the gay in my voice so they know I'm not hitting on them. I just really think their hair, makeup, shoes, whatever are cool. I'm trying to decide if you're a straight guy trying to pretend you're gay so the girls don't get defensive, or if you're a gay guy trying to make that more obvious. And I don't know which is funnier, haha. I'm a tall, broad fellow. Walking home drunk one night, I realized there was a lady walking ahead of me alone. So I shouted, "I'm not an attacker, I just live in this direction," really loudly. She laughed and said something I don't remember and we both kept walking. Slow down so that I'm not walking right behind a girl or woman who might be creeped out about some guy close behind her. It's appreciated, especially if it's dark out. Was walking back to my hotel drunk after the bars closed. Was on an empty street when a young lady started walking in my direction. I moved to the fair side of the sidewalk so she could pass easily. She then decides to stop and talk to me for a few minutes. I often take off my sunglasses so it's clear where I'm looking. For example, when our dogs are meeting each other on the trail. My ex and I were at a club. She had to use the restroom and found the place a little creepy, so she wanted me to stay close to the entrance. So I'm there, looking like a creepy dude in a creepy part of a club right outside the women's restroom. I just got my phone out and played a game on it. Women going to the bathroom generally don't want to be the focus of some random dude at that moment, so I focused my attention on my phone. TBH, guys standing outside women's bathrooms, I 100% always assume they're waiting for their daughter or wife, girlfriend. Of the 4 adjustable benches in the gym, if a girl is using one, I will apply men's room rules and select the furthest bench possible, always a buffer of at least one. My fear of being creepy pretty much keeps me from approaching women entirely. Pretty pathetic, lol. When watching P, I keep a tab open with some random news site or whatever, in case somebody walks in. Of course, one time my roommate did walk in, and I was sitting there supposedly reading headline about some woman who got raped, and all of a suddenly, one of those talking ads comes on from the P tab. "Oh, baby, you really wanna stick it in me, don't you?" Roommate was like, "Wow, those news websites are really immersive." I'm not sure having your pants down in front of a news article about rape is any better. I've refrained from asking people out at work. 99/100 I know they are being nice and pleasant because it's work, but every now and then it's so obviously clear they would say yes, but I don't ask. I just generally avoid flirting with any girl I meet. There are only 4 scenarios. Scenario A, she's your server or cashier or whatever, and you shouldn't flirt because she can't get away. Scenario B, you're her server or cashier or whatever, and you shouldn't flirt with her because she might complain to your boss. Scenario C, both you and she are working, possibly at the same job, and flirting would be inappropriate and potentially lead to awkwardness. Scenario D, neither of you are working, and there's really no basis for you to be talking to her at all. There are exceptions of course, but they're few and far between. This exactly explains why I have no friends, male or female. As a 6 foot tall, 240 pounds white dude that drives Uber Lyft, I am always respectful to all of my passengers, but I really try to seem non-threatening when I have a female passenger by herself. I greet everyone when they get in, verify their destination, and let them continue the conversation if they so choose. If they say nothing else, neither do I. Also, whenever I drop off a female at night, I stay parked in front of their house until they get the door open, then I drive away. I'd feel awful if I saw on the news that one of my packs was assaulted. Very unlikely, I know, but still. I once dropped off a woman whose father was in the car, but he was getting dropped off at another destination. I waited, like I usually do, and he was very appreciative of the gesture. It's something that I would appreciate for my wife, daughter, mother if in a similar situation. When I owned a car, I did this for all my friends, not just my female ones. Don't talk to women. My anxiety tells me that anything I say is creepy because I don't know how to talk to women. So, I just subtract myself from the equation and boom. Can't be creepy if you don't interact with them. Taps Temple. It was a hot day in a southern city, scorching and humid, at least 98 degrees. There was a large public fountain designed for people to splash in and run through. Was with my girl at the time and we were both soaked in sweat. The water looked amazing. Only thing was there were about 24 moms and their kids also running through the water. Even though it was hot, and even though it was a public space, and even though I was with my GF, I refused to go running through the fountain. A grown man skipping alongside children in the water, while actually showing I'm really just a kid in a grown body, would have seemed especially creepy. I used to take my son and daughter to the park. My son is autistic, so I tend to watch closely and follow around while standing off to the side. Apparently this freaked out one of the other moms, who had her husband come over to check me out. I lived on a co-ed floor with gender-neutral bathrooms for a semester. This included showers. It had stalls. I was one of 3 guys and 18 women. If I saw a woman in the bathroom, fine, but I would never follow a girl in, especially if they were heading to the showers. Big ol' bag of nope. This is why I'm against gender-neutral bathrooms. I'd never use one if there was a woman I beat because I don't want to look creepy and I'm super awkward around women. Got into the elevator with some girl living in the same condo I lived in late at night. Saw her press the same floor I lived on, so I pressed a different floor to get off at. And obviously just to drive the point home I yelled I am not creepy as she left the elevator horrified and very creeped out. That's when you say, oh, I live on the same floor. Then stand as close to the door as possible to make sure you get off first. At least, that's what I'd do. Kept staring at someone while zoning out, so it didn't seem like I was intentionally staring by looking away immediately. I just always look down, because I'm worried that I'll end up accidentally staring at someone. I tend to try not to speak to cute girls I see in public. I figure that attractive women get approached all the time to the point to where it's just annoying to them, and I don't want to be +1 to the list of thirsty dudes, so I just keep it moving. Frustrating part is the kinds of guys who think like this are the types I would want to approach me and get to know. Instead I get weird poos and aggressive buttholes. This happened to me a few years ago. My 11-year-old daughter was attending a visual arts class at a high school in our city. Several of her classmates, mostly girls, were also attending, so the parents had worked out a carpool system. It was only later that I realized I was the only male parent involved. After the mom on duty had picked up the girls and left, I got a group email response from one of the other moms in the group. She had planned on taking her own daughter but had misjudged the time and was asking if anyone else could help. I replied back that the other mom had already left and probably wouldn't be back for at least 45 minutes, but I said I could do it as she lived only a few blocks away. She thanked me and sent me her address and phone number. I sent her a text message back with my face picture so that she could send it to her daughter, so she could recognize me when I went to get her. I got a text message back. Oh my god. I was confused. I replied back, is there something wrong? I know it's not a super flattering picture, but I haven't had my coffee today. No response. I waited a few minutes, then texted again. Is everything okay? I'm about to head over to your place. No response. I went over to the address she sent and knocked on the door. The daughter was home alone but was getting ready to leave for the class. I introduced myself as my daughter's father and that I would wait in the car. A few minutes later she came out and we started driving. We had only gone to the corner when the girl said, "Hey, that's my neighbor." There was a woman waving frantically at us from the sidewalk. I pulled over to see what she wanted. She told the girl that her mom was on her way home and that she would take her to class. I was like, okay, whatever. It was nice to meet you. She got out and I drove home. I found out later that the girl never went to the class. Her mom wasn't on her way home. Apparently because I am a man I cannot be trusted, even by someone who asked me to help them. I sent a message to the mom later saying that I was incredibly offended by her actions. She offered some mealy-mouthed apology about just not wanting to send her daughter off alone. I felt awful about myself for the rest of the weekend until I realized something. Some people are always going to assume the worst about you no matter what. That is on them. They carry that crap around with them. If they try to lay it on me, I don't have to pick it up. We created a new carpool group that did not include her and the rest of the year went fine. It should go without saying, If someone is going to diddle your kids, it's going to be family. Statistically, I'm not an expert though. I'm glad things worked out well, especially as a fellow male who may someday be in your shoes. If I'm alone in a room with a woman I don't know, doctor's lobby, fast food joint, convenience store, I'll pull out my phone and browse Reddit so she doesn't think I'm checking her out or anything. I do this primarily because I was called out for it once before when I was really just lost in thought with the 1,000-yard stare, and the clerks at the CVS looked at me like I was some kind of scumbag. So frick social interaction, I'll be on my phone. I'm a 6 feet 3 inches 210 pounds white guy. When I shave my head, I wear bright colors and skinny jeans for a week or two until I stop looking like a white supremacist. I'm 6 feet 0 inches and 200. I shave my head for a skin condition. I'm currently growing my beard out so I can braid it like a Viking. Vikings aren't white supremacists. They just like killing everyone who has good loot. At the gym I will avoid racks and machines next to attractive promiscuously dressed females. I don't want to look like that guy trying to creep. I'll literally use a rack that sucks and has no mirror. Keep my hands to myself. Keep my thoughts to myself. Keep my emotions to myself. And just stick to the conversation without changing topic. You sound like a girl I was dating for a few months. Take extra care not to get touchy, especially if I've been drinking, since it has been called to my attention that I get that way when I'm about half in the bag. I'll cough or make a loud sound if I'm walking behind a female, to let them know I'm not trying to be sneaky or anything, and to also alert them that I'm behind them so they should stop hogging the entire freaking sidewalk so I can pass. It's appreciated also. I scuff my feet to make people freaking move as well. Go team. It's a frequent occurrence that I stand instead of taking the last free seat on the bus, because a meek looking woman is sitting next to it. Keep a distance, occasionally crossing the street. I also have intentionally shifted my mannerisms in a stereotypically flamboyant direction. And I find that women, and their boyfriends, are less threatened when I shift my posture, use different vocabulary, and pronounce words in a particular manner. Yes, I pump the gay pedal a bit with women I'm just having casual conversations with, and everyone can relax. Feels so much better when you know you're no longer considered a threat. Sprinkle in some good old-fashioned southern boy charm and customers of all ages and genders eat that crap up when I'm slinging coffee at work. One time me and my girlfriend were at a park and has an extra ice cream sandwich. She said, "Oh, why don't you go give it to those kids over there?" Listen. I was in the tram today and there was a girl talking to her sister. It was about an accident or something that happened to a friend. A day before she learned that her husband had an affair, and another day before her grandma died. The conversation started about that, then turned to a well-mannered argument between her and her sister about something. Then it turned even more depressing because the topic changed to them not seeing each other a lot and stuff. It's hard to explain, but from the way she talked and stuff it sounded like her sister was her parent figure in her life. They also didn't talk about their actual parents at all and stuff. You know how some people have a resting bee face? Well, she had a resting sad face. The face you have when you get reminded of something sad, or you know something sad was gonna happen and you learn that it just happened. She also looked like she was on the verge of crying during most of the conversation. I mean, she was pretty hot and totally my type, I just realized. But at the time all I wanted to do is hug the frick out of her and let her cry it out and stuff. I don't know. I was basically choking in her sadness. I felt so bad and sad. I still feel bad for her and really sad. My entire day has been kind of down now because of her, but I don't blame her and don't mind it. Well, my stop came and I was resisting the urge to hug her and stuff because that would be awkward as frick. A 16-year-old kid hugging this 24-year-old woman in the tram and they don't know each other. All I did was awkwardly ask if she could move her legs a little bit. There were 4 seats next to her and opposed to each other, so a 2x2 seat place thing. I didn't have enough room to walk out of it to leave the tram because her legs were in the way. I totally didn't do the part where I explained why I feel sad for her. Justice, but oh well. Something kinda strange to think about, but not all that strange to do, is not to hug her but to say something simple. Doesn't have to be encouraging, but just say something kinda nice or show some sort of empathy. I no longer compliment any woman on her appearance or mention appearance at all. I no longer initiate conversation with women and minimize it when it happens. I keep a good physical distance from women. I try not to overtly look at women. I cross the street if a woman is walking towards me and I can do so. I'm a 23-year-old male who is a leader at a church youth group. I'm one of the leaders who knows and is friends with just about all of the kids. The other week we went to the pool. On this week a lot of our guy regulars weren't there, so most of the kids we had there were girls. A few of the kids were playing tag in the pool, and one of the 9th grade girls who I am good friends with asked me to play, which I declined. However, she kept persisting, and even got a bunch of the other kids to harass me into playing. When the others were gone, I ended up pulling her aside and telling her that it looks bad if a 23-year-old guy is playing tag with a bunch of teenage girls, mostly in bikinis, at the pool, and she seemed to get it, and didn't push anything like that again, which is a relief. I don't know if it's necessarily a man thing, but I try to keep my hands visible at all times in public. Like, I'll hold my phone up with one hand, but not so much that it looks like I'm taking pictures, and let my other swing a bit more than it would naturally while I'm walking, just so nobody thinks I'm reaching for anything or something like that. I especially do this in stores. I like resting my hands in my pockets, but I don't want people to think I'm hiding anything. I tried. When I was 21-22 I was at a bar. Drunk girl walking by slips and a drink spilt on the ground. I catch her but my hand is on her boob. Tried to quickly correct and move my hand arm to her stomach. Unfortunately, she's wearing a halter top, shirt with no straps, and I ended up pulling her top down. She then stayed on her knees to pull it up as I applied my palm directly to face. Drinks were on me the rest of the night cause I felt guilt. I work at a college, and when I become friendly with an attractive female student, about every third time I see her around campus, I will totally ignore her. I hate that. As a guy, I must always live on tenterhooks because someone might think I'm being creepy. Usually, if you're trying to not be creepy, you end up being creepy. The best advice I've been given is to just go for it and say whatever you want. The next best piece of advice I've been given is to not take advice from girls on how to hit on girls. Their advice will frick you over. I never engage conversations with women and avoid standing or sitting next to them unless invited, so to not give the impression I'm trying to flirt. The less attractive you are, the more careful you need to be. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.